All right, this is Nate McGuire back with our top executives in Silicon Valley podcast. This is Allison with TrustRadius. Allison, thanks for being here. And could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Nate. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Allyson Havener. I'm the CMO of TrustRadius. And if you don't know TrustRadius, we are a review site, buyer intelligence platform, whatever you want to call it. But millions of buyers come to TrustRadius to read reviews, find out important product information, and ultimately make a confident technology decision.
Awesome. So I am just going to jump us right in because I cut off your train of thought and I feel like you were going somewhere good. We were talking about AI and how we think about our teams and how we grow our teams. And then you said something that I thought was interesting, like instead of asking for budget or headcount, what can we do with AI? And I feel like that's where a lot of executives are today.
I think that statement really puts the power in the hands of your team. And, I was actually at a CMO dinner the other night and we were talking, like, I'm going to kind of go off on a tangent for a second, but we were talking about
Go for it.
attribution.
Yeah.
We're talking about attribution. And I was like, why does it? And
We're
they're like, well,
always talking about attribution.
it's literally like the most annoying word of all time. And like, I don't really, I
It's
get why
it's
people are
voodoo.
obsessed.
It's
Yeah,
just magic. Yeah.
I get why people are obsessed with it because one of the things are like, well, how do you justify your budget and headcount? And I was like, I think that budget and headcount is so easily, especially now with AI. Like if we're a 500 million public company and I have a 3-person team, I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Like we can add one more if we need to add one more.
Yeah, like budget and headcount and like it and I think like CMOs and if you look just like at a timeline of like CMOs, I think there's going to be like this new generation of a CMO that doesn't equate their worth to like
Their
the size of
spend,
the
marketing
their
spend. Yeah.
spend and like
Yeah.
I've managed a $10 million budget. I managed a
With
team of
40
three.
people in the department. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's going to be this vanity metric that doesn't matter anymore because
Yeah.
I can have a 3-person team and I can have a $2 million budget or whatever. And
Uh-huh.
we can generate just as much demand. We can build an iconic brand that people
Uh-huh.
know and we can drive the revenue that we need and the growth margins that we need. So anyways, that where I'm going with this is that I think that the days of a CMO saying, okay, hey, like I need to justify what I'm doing
Mm.
in order to get more budget, to get more headcount, to have,
We're going to be so
sell.
leveraged anyway. You don't need to even think like that, basically.
Exactly. And that also opens up, I think, there's a lot of this kind of like CMO plus idea out there too, where like CMOs are taking on a lot of other like kind of like tangential roles.
Product role or sales leadership or
Some
something like that.
exactly something along those
Mm.
like just operate some kind of like operational roles as well,
Well,
that
I
you
think it's hard to find a good executive, and when you do, if they can do more, incentivize them correctly, and like, why not? Especially if they can build teams and systems and stuff like that, it all kind of blends together from like a revenue acquisition perspective.
exactly. And if you're a leader first, that's what matters. And I think that's really, when I try to boil down, like, okay, how do I define myself as a CMO? First and foremost, I'm a leader at the company and I'm an executive at the company. And my time at TrustRadius has been, I've kind of called it the land of misfit toys and I've taken on a lot of different like
How long
help.
have you been there, and how big were they at the beginning?
So when I was there, or I've been there for 4 years now. And the team was pretty small. It was like 50 people, but we haven't grown that much in terms of people,
Yeah,
but we've been having
a
like last year
revenue growth.
we grew 20%
Yeah.
last year and we're getting to that rule of 40. And I think for now we're only at 65 or 70 people.
I've always
Um,
preferred that because I feel like, like 100's nice, up to 500 can be okay. But like you really, like you're talking about leverage, not getting more people, getting more out of the same people you have. I just feel like a little pressure gets things done better. And like without so many people in the way, you don't develop like red tape, bureaucracy, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and if you look at really like I came from a big enterprise live ramp in the ad tech world, and I started there when it was a 40-person company, and when I left, it was 2,500 globally,
Yeah.
and our marketing team alone, I think, was like 60 people. And yeah, there's a lot of complexity, but I look at my team now and what we produce would have probably ran circles around the team that
Yeah.
I had at live ramp. But it wasn't because like, they're not like amazing people and amazing marketers. It's because you have so many other dynamics to manage. And so as more things have kind of come under my leadership, you can maintain this sense of agility. And I think like in the SaaS world, in the tech world, especially in the Bay Area, people that are feeling paralyzed are the ones that are going to be left behind, and that
Correct. Yeah.
analysis paralysis is going to get you. So I think that sure, a small or like we're not going to be measured by how big the organization is. I think it's around like efficiency. So you can
Yep.
have 100-person company and they can be, multi-million-dollar public company or some kind of strategic exit and be very profitable. The numbers are going to be very, very skewed, I think, in the future.
And do you talk to me about some of the specific things y'all are doing? Are you doing, content with it? Are you making ads with like Mid-Journey? Like what, when you're talking AI and amplifying your team, what are some of your favorite tools?
So we're using right now, I would say a couple of things. We partner with ZoomInfo on their Copilot, and like our intent data goes into ZoomInfo. So we just like enabled our team on that. We're looking at other tools that do something similar that actually connect into more, let's say, like different data pieces that we have along the way, and there's more of an orchestration versus kind of like if then that statements, and I think that's where we want to just get like more sophisticated. But I think you also have to
I
take
feel like there'll be out of the box solutions for this in 6, 8 months. Like right now,
yeah,
it's a little hacky. It feels like,
it feels a little hacky, but there are like some really
but
good
it's useful for sure.
and I think like sales is like the tip of the spear in terms of like testing some of this out and seeing how effective it is. The BDRs or SDRs, whatever you call them, roll up into me. And so like think about how inefficient they can be. And great, they walk in every day and they know which accounts to reach out to, why to reach out to them, and who to reach out to. And that also just changes, like, again, going back to efficiency, it's like, great, I don't need to hire more BDRs. You need
Yeah.
like the
Just
AE,
hit the phones. Yeah.
right? The AE
Yeah.
to BDR ratio can be like 10 to 1. I don't know. Like you could figure that piece
And
out.
so
But like,
you're kind of saying like the support and research and all that stuff is a lot easier, faster. So they spend time basically just actually selling as opposed to doing all the other fluff.
exactly. And
Yeah.
then they can support more AEs, they can support more accounts. And then the AEs as well, right? Like they're like if they're doing the same thing that our AEs also prospect because we have a really big TAM. And so we obviously have like strategic areas and verticals that we go after, et cetera. But especially if you have a really big TAM and prioritizing that, like it's huge. And the BDRs spend 85% of their time building lists of accounts, building the contacts for that, uploading it into Outreach,
Putting it in.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
There's just,
It's
so
like,
it's like those, yeah. So it's like those use cases. So it's like, okay, what like brainstorm, like especially when you're thinking about AI and the future of like your team, a lot of the marketers that are on my team, I kind of call them almost like these full stack marketers because they're like generalists in a sense. Like they're
yeah.
not super, super specialized. And I was kind of getting into a debate with one of my product marketing friends, and product marketers love them. Obviously, they're amazing, but there's a ton of like competitive analysis, market
Hmm.
analysis,
Hmm.
message testing, all message building that you could do a lot of that. Now, well, obviously product marketers will have the deep understanding and
Right.
like the
Of the
creativity,
ICP. Yeah,
right, to
exactly.
like differentiate, but
But
like,
still, you can get like 90% of the way there.
yeah,
In
exactly. And you can get maybe how you have one product marketer, and then like let's say like we verticalize some of our marketing and some of our AEs. Great, you don't need a product marketer for each vertical. You need one product
right.
marketer that can use AI and again take the 90% that they get from AI and the 10% that really um
I
makes
almost feel
it
like we're going to
your
be like
brand.
frozen at the employment level we're at now. Nobody wants to fire anyone, but
Right.
like we can all do 10x more.
Yeah.
And yeah, and for the people who aren't already in a job, perhaps like new grads, it might be a bit difficult to get hired right now.
Yeah, I mean, at a different CMO dinner I was at, the same thing. Like there, we were kind of talking about like there's like both sides of the coin when it comes to AI. Like, right, I think that there's going to be people that have like a deep rooted knowledge that like is going to be so invaluable, original
Uh-huh.
content, all of that. But then at the other, there's going to be people that can just like ruthlessly execute and just get a lot done with AI.
Yep.
I think that the same thing is for new grads coming out of college. You might have a 22-year-old that could build a company
True. By themselves.
by
Yeah.
themselves,
Yeah.
and we're all working for them, or we don't have,
Fair.
they take all of our
Very
jobs.
fair.
I don't know,
Fair.
you
Very
know?
fair.
So I
Yeah.
think it's more of like the carpe diem
The
aspect,
kid's gonna be all right.
right? Like I think, and they've grown up, like, you know,
Yeah, that's fair.
us millennials and other
Yeah.
generations, we were at like, the digital age and like social media, like all that. I think about the way the
Yep.
like the youth use like social media and how they
Yeah.
interact with each other. Like I'm not really around a lot of kids,
Yeah,
but I know what
I've
happens.
signed off. Yeah, I've signed off. That's funny. Yeah, it's something no, I'm thinking a lot about, and also like prototyping, and for for engineers, because we have about 100 engineers. We work with a bunch of Silicon Valley companies. Like I said, I was in SF for a long time. And when when it first started coming out, I was telling my co-founder, like, hey, this is kind of cool, but this was a little bit early when it was still stupid. And he was like, nah, it's so dumb. And he's typical skeptical CTO type. And then, 3 months later, he's a huge advocate. And then 1 month later, he's like, do you think our engineers are using this? And then like month after that, it's like everybody has a stipend for whatever, AI tools that they want. Because I think, even if dev budgets do or don't get cut, I think there's always like room for good engineers. So like you just need to be good. And that's kind of the main point. And then within that good category, like you said, there's going to be like people who are deep experts in like using this to be productive. And we should be those people just because like that's where it's going. It's like if a designer was like, I really don't want to learn Figma. Like,
Right.
or Photoshop. Who needs Photoshop? I'm just gonna like draw it. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And like to think that we're suddenly just gonna stop having work to do, I think is just a little too pessimistic for me. Like
Yeah.
I feel like the economy is about to go gangbusters.
I mean, I also think like, look, like someone has to be at the helm. At the end of the
Yep.
day, when you think about content strategy too, the way nobody knows for certain how like LLMs are actually like ingesting content and how they're prioritizing it. I think there's a lot of good hypotheses
I
out
also
there.
think they're gonna change it to commercialize it. So like, you
100%
know, it's like Google changing up the links. Like, of course, they're going to find a way to send us
to
stuff, and
monetize
we're
it.
and we're all going to be okay with it. Like,
Yeah. It's
just
the
like we
same.
were okay with Google. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing that happened with search, right? And that's going to
Yep.
happen. And so, I mean, they've probably already built it. They're just easing us into it at this point,
Yeah.
and all the
Yeah.
publishers are pissed off already.
I've
So,
seen when it started to pop up like little restaurants when I ask like for itineraries for places. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like little links. Okay.
yeah, it's just a new form of like finding these answers. But I think where the value exchange is really broken and where we need to figure this out is publishers, right? And like the people that are
Right.
actually producing the content that
But that would
they're.
impact you guys, I think, a lot with traffic and stuff too, because there's probably a lot of organic traffic with what you do. Yeah.
Yeah, so we still have a lot of like our direct traffic that come to TrustRadius and so forth. But yeah, from an organic standpoint, for sure, we've felt it. However, the LLMs, we're sourced. We've been starting to track how many times that we're sourced, and the LLMs are looking for the type of content we have because
Right.
it's all authentic,
Right.
customer, like
So
hard to
it's like you're
find
kind of
content,
you're winning anyway, but
but
you could
in just
see,
a
but you
different
could
way.
see, yeah, you could see a world where like some people kind of get left behind for
Oh
sure.
yeah, and it all goes back to,
But
I
where do
think
you
this.
think it goes?
It's a
Like,
flight to quality, I think. I think what
yeah,
happens is people really focus on like right now, like everyone's in this like hype phase where they're just regurgitating, regurgitating content and this throwing stuff out there to, because they're in that mindset of like appeasing an algorithm, right? They're
Hmm.
trying to, they're
Like
that
let's
hub,
stuff the keywords basically, and
right?
now we have an AI guy that's gonna write,
Yeah.
the same stuff over and over, and so we can stuff even faster.
Exactly, but that's not the content that's going to be used
Right.
because AI actually has its own way of detecting AI generated content. So
Right.
they're not just regurgitating that in their
You mean the
sophistication.
emojis and the unnecessary bulleted lists don't give it away?
Yeah, and like the bold and everything's like bolded and weird. Like
Yeah.
it's one of the because they have to do quality control themselves. And
Right.
so obviously they're going to be trying to find the content that is again not widely available, as original as possible, that's unique, etc. And when you think about yourself as like a brand and your larger kind of go to market, your customer voice is really like the last thing that's going to differentiate you because no one can copy that, right? The way
Yeah, your
that your
point of
customers
view on
talk
the
about you,
problem. Yeah,
yeah, the way they
exactly.
talk about the use cases, etc., even the stuff they don't like about your product, right? Like
Yeah.
no one
Yeah,
can
that's
copy
true.
that. And
Yeah.
so
It's
we
like
see
they're
it.
high quality but so expensive.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we see it as just a different way to use this really valuable asset that we've worked really hard to like maintain the quality of. So, our we publish a report every year around our quality standards when it comes to review generation. We reject 60% of probably over like 62% of all the reviews that come to TrustRadius, either for fraud, misinformation, not enough information, or AI written. And so
Mm,
we have like our own AI detection. And we had actually a third party did an analysis of all the review sites. And we had the least amount of AI written content by far of any other review site. It was less than
interesting.
10%.
Yeah.
But that is really important because
Right.
that's exactly what the LLMs are looking for. And also like, that's what I want in my own content,
Right.
right?
That's
Like
what
I don't want
customers want.
fraudulent
Yeah.
reviews.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Or just like regurgitated reviews from copying something that something else said. Interesting. So how are you thinking about like budgets for spend on like marketing for you guys? I guess you're more B2B. I guess I'm
Mhm.
curious, maybe your point of view, like, do you think B2B AI is more useful or B2C?
Uh, no, I mean, I think it's useful in both areas. I mean, honestly, I think the interesting thing with B2B and B2C, and you're seeing a lot of this out there, if I was a B2C marketer, I'd be like totally honing in on this, but around not in is testing. It's like message testing,
Mm.
creative testing, because they spend so much money. Speaking about like where your budget's going, but like from a
Yeah.
B2C side, like if you think how much
Photo
money.
shoots and copywriting, and we have one customer that is now doing all like AI photo shoot basically, and it's like
Yeah.
that's 100K a pop.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you can like essentially test that and you can use AI to test it. And so from a B2C standpoint, I think like obvious, I think they're very much in parallel because for B2B, you do the same thing. Like you can use AI and then you can do that kind of.
it's just like less glamorous basically. It's like in the message testing of the emails that you send outbound,
I
or yeah.
mean, B2C has to do email too, right? It's
True.
maybe,
Well, yeah,
maybe a
yeah,
little bit more
different kinds,
fun.
different kind.
Yeah. So I think a lot of like the basics are in parallel with B2C and B2B, and where you're going to save that budget for sure. And I think message testing is a big piece of that. And I don't think people spend a lot of time doing that in the
It
B2B
seems
world. So
difficult to me. Like, how would you do message testing like at scale with AI? Do you have a recommended process that you use?
So super basic, like if you're, and this isn't groundbreaking, but like we activated Gemini and all of like our Google
Mm.
workspaces, and I put our pitch deck into it, and I was like, find all the gaps and holes in this, and then I kind of made it fun, and I was like, do it like you're Gordon Ramsay. just because I
Nice. I
wanted
want
to
to
entertain myself.
now I need to see the deck.
Yeah, just because I wanted to like entertain myself. And
That's funny.
anyways, but it was super interesting because again, they're taking everything from your website, all the publicly available information that you have out there. We don't gate any of our content. Like
Mm.
everything lives out in the ether. And so, I uploaded a lot of like our messaging frameworks. I like because it has access to all of your Google Docs. So
Yeah.
here's all of our personas. Here's all of our messaging framework. Here's
That's what
our
I've been
objection
hearing a lot
handling.
from other marketing execs is
Yeah.
like being able to load all that stuff in and then have searchable. Someone even made a custom GPT for their internal stuff.
Yeah.
But
You hear that a lot.
they sounded like they documented maybe a little bit too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting because then again, you're getting that like feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, like this doesn't make sense, or like you could have had more examples, and more ROI examples or whatever it was. We did this exercise with the CMO group that I'm in, and it's called, is your website ready.ai, and it analyzes your website, and gives you like a score and then tells you kind of all the gaps like within your website.
I want to see this.
And yeah, it was awesome. And I got like, well, we scored on our website, I think it was like an 85. I was like, I'll take it.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think there's like cool tools out there that can help you give that feedback, which again, like if you think like brand analysis and like doing a brand audit and all like that to a marketer sounds terrible, but like you can do that so quickly with AI now, competitive analysis, etc. So I think there's tons
Especially if
of
you're
ways to
not
do it.
like going super, super deep, because
Mhm.
I have noticed it's still like if you're an expert in something, it can still be pretty wrong on some stuff. But for
Mhm.
cursory research or like what you would expect, like, you know, in like moderate competitive research, like it can spit that out like nothing. And it's crazy. You can do it's like 1,000 times faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think this kind of goes back to our conversation that we're having around like, how your role as like a deep expert is going to be, I still think there's going to be tons of space for that because the information has to come from somewhere. The data has to come from somewhere,
Right. Right.
right?
It's not, at least for now, it's not
For
writing
now.
it from scratch. Well, I know we're almost up on time. Is there anything else you wanted to mention or any other thoughts to leave with the people?
Yeah, I honestly, I really, after talking with a lot of different CMOs in the community and especially in the Bay Area where everything's moving so quickly, I think it's important to like take deep breaths and then like just be as like start as simple as possible. It feels very overwhelming when you hear people like, oh, we do this and we do this and this website and this technology, and I'm like, my head starts spinning a little bit. And so I think it's helpful to know that a lot of people are in that same boat. But if you
Exactly.
just kind
Yep.
of sit down with your team and start to like incrementally think about and take a very phased approach to how you're going to optimize your team in the output that you have, it'll be really helpful because otherwise, again, you'll get into this analysis paralysis mode.
Great advice. Thanks, Allison. And we will talk to you soon.